At lunchtime, I bought a huge orange. The size of it made us all laugh. I peeled it and shared it with Robert and Dave. They got quarters and I had a half. And that orange, it made me so happy, as ordinary things often do. Just lately, the shopping, a walk in the park, this is peace and contentment. It is new. The rest of the day was quite easy. I did all the jobs on my list and enjoyed them and had some time over. I love you. I'm glad I exist. That is the poem The Orange by Wendy Cope. It is a poem that I love to read and think about on the days when things are just calm. And as much as I always look forward to the days where like life is bubbling and exciting and, you know, like really grand things are happening, I do love those simple little reminders on those like everyday, simple, ordinary days. And because at least for me, those ordinary days make up the bulk of my days, right? And especially taking into account how hard the world is and how much better or how much worse some people have it. I think if you get the chance to show gratitude for the little things that make you happy, the people, you know, that make you happy, something as small as sharing an orange with a friend, like the poem says, or just taking a walk and sitting and actually being in the life that you have, not the one you are waiting for to manifest, not the one you wish you would have, I think is a blessing that I try not to take for granted. And I love that poem for that reason. But yeah, I hope your last couple of months in the year is going well. I hope you have things that you can find in your life that bring you a sense of contentment and gratitude and peace, you know, and hope. I hope you have people in your life that can show up for you if you're the kind of person that actually is comfortable enough to have people show up for you. I struggle with that a little bit. And I also hope if you don't have that, that you at least find the courage to maybe be the person that shows up for someone else. Sometimes that can be helpful too. It can be a little, you know, hard. I don't know. But yeah, I'm sending love and light and positivity your way if you're watching this vlog at this specific point in time. I'm sending you all my love and I hope your month is off to a great start. Okay, that's it. I had that on my heart and I wanted to share and I've shared, so we're about to head out into the city. Not we, me. I'm about to head out into the city. I have errands to run. I'm picking up my pre-ordered copy of Intermezzo by Sally Rooney at Barnes & Noble today. And I need like makeup and stuff. And I'm also going to try to catch up with a friend in the city. So busy day. And I look good.
Quick outfit check. Come on. Okay.
I need to miss my train, but it's worth it.
Strut.
Okay.
Store is like packed today. Look at my little Indian wagon. I'm hot and you're cold. You go around.
Like you know who I am. It took a while, but you don't. You got me on.
Okay, let's do a TBR check-in, the monthly TBR check-in. So when it comes to books for this month, I know that it is officially spooky season because it's, like I'm halfway through October, but I'm not only going to be reading spooky books, although there will be a huge sprinkle of those types of books in there. But yeah, fair warning. And I try to do a mix of both new books, like contemporary fiction. I'm reading only fiction this month. I do not even have the emotional bandwidth to take anything non-fiction. I try to sprinkle a little bit of like new stuff and then some old books and classics that I haven't read before that I've been meaning to read. Yeah, starting off with The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. This is actually a sequel to The Ex-Hex, which I read like 2 years ago. And I didn't know that a sequel came out last year for this book. I think I found this in January and I just got it so that I would read it in October. But the first book is about, if I can even remember, the first book is about a woman, a witch, who gets broken up with when she's younger by the man that she loves. And she was so upset, she and her cousin, the main character in this book, put a hex on him. They put a spell on him. It was supposed to be like a play thing. They didn't know that the hex that they put on him actually worked until she came back into contact with him years later. And she finds out that the curse that she placed on him actually was a curse and it's been following him around this entire time. And I think there was also some like magical thing happening in the town. It's a very like small town vibe. You could tell that the author is pulling a lot of inspiration from like Gilmore Girls and those like Hallmarkish type of movies, but then throw in a little bit of like witchcraft and things in it. It was fun. It was cute. I started the month with this one because I wanted something, with that type of vibe, something light, like a palate cleanser, because I just felt like I had been having a really heavy reading streak, I think. Yeah. So that's what the first one was about. And this one follows the cousin of the main character in the first book and the older brother of the main male character from the other book. So the main male character in this book moves into town and opens a shop across from Gwen's shop. So Gwen is the main character in this one, and they're kind of competing, and somewhere in the midst of all that, they have this little like flirty, witty banter going on back and forth. It's very nice, it's very cute. And while they're trying to figure out how all that is going to work, a new group of witches come into town and Gwen begins to lose her powers. So both Gwen and Wells have to team up to figure out why she's losing her powers and how to, like overcome this thing that's happening. Yeah, really fun, really quick read. I think I read this in like 3 days. It was good. It was okay. Enjoyable. Yeah. So starting the month with The Kiss Curse was a very, like, after I finished reading it, I just felt hungrier for books. I felt myself slipping into a book slump. So I picked it up and it kind of picked me right back up out of the book slump. So I decided to read something that I love, but for some reason have not read. I read Coraline by Neil Gaiman for the first time. Words cannot describe how much I love the movie Coraline. I think anyone who knows me, well, not anyone who knows me, but like my brother and my sister and maybe one of my best friends has heard me talk about Coraline for years. I love that movie so much. I love the animation style. I love the storytelling. I love how every single time I go back to watch it, I find something new to love about it. It's one of my favorite coming of age stories, even though I don't think it's technically coming of age because it happens during such a short period of time. But within that short period of time, Coraline learns a lot. There's a lot of lessons packed in for such a young girl. And I can talk about how much I love Coraline till I'm blue in the face. But I'm also assuming you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know anything about Coraline, Coraline is the story of a girl who has just moved into a new home with her parents. And she spends a lot of days exploring the home, and she ends up finding a hidden secret passage that leads her to an entirely different realm. Another realm that is like a darker, flipped version of the life that she already has. So in that other realm, she has another mother, literally called the other mother, and another father that are replicas of the parents that she has in the real world. And she finds this intriguing, and she really settles into like going back and forth between those two lives. But she's really beginning to love this other world that she's found until things start getting mysterious, things start getting really like dark and sinister, and it starts revealing itself to her as not being what she thinks it is on the surface. And Coraline uses all her wits and her senses and her courage, to save herself and to save a couple of other like trapped souls along the way. It's a really fun book for children, but this was my first time reading it. Now, I have a really, really old version of it. It's an illustrated version now. So this is the version that I have been reading for literally years, the illustrated version. But I've never sat down and actually read the prose version of it, and it is so good and also so short. So if you're ever thinking of, like reading it, you will go through it in a couple of days, hours, honestly, if you're a fast reader, which I am not. So yeah, those two were really fun. The one that I'm reading now is another classic, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and I've never read this. Again, watched many movies, and there's so many adaptations of it that have come out, but I've never actually read the classic itself. I've never read the book itself, and I haven't gotten very far. Something I didn't know until I actually decided to read the book is that the book isn't all from Frankenstein, the scientist's point of view. That's what I thought, but it starts out from the point of view of a Captain Walton, who is writing a series of letters. So you're reading the letters that he's sending to his sister, telling her about his journey, what he's thinking, all the lessons that he's learning on the voyage that he's taking, and he's writing those letters to her. And then he, on that voyage, meets Victor Frankenstein. And then we start hearing from Frankenstein's point of view. Frankenstein starts sharing his story with him, how he created the creature. And that's as far as I've gotten. I think the point where I've gotten to Victor Frankenstein is now telling his own story. So he's still giving exposition on his own upbringing and his own background. So I haven't gotten too deep into it yet. But again, another short read. This is what I'm probably going to be reading for the next 2 days. And I want to finish it over the weekend because I do have to go on a trip, and I don't want to read it on a trip. I want to move on to the next book by the time I'm on that trip. So reading Frankenstein. And then there are 2 other books on my list. One is Expiration Dates by Rebecca Surley. I don't know why I don't have the cover on. I don't have the cover on it right now because I thought I was going to start reading this, but I picked up Frankenstein instead. But Expiration Date is not a spooky season read. It just follows a female main character who, from what I read in the synopsis, for some reason gets a letter or a note with a specific man's name and a specific length of time or a date. And what the note is telling her is that's the next man she's going to meet. And the time frame that she's given on the note, this, mysterious note that comes from forces that I don't know yet. But the time that she's giving on that note tells her how long that relationship is going to last. And so she's kind of going into these relationships, trying to navigate things. I don't know what the plot is going to unfold into, but my thought is that it has to be intriguing. It has to mess with your mind a little to have to go into relationships, romantic relationships, knowing exactly when they will end. I don't know how much hope or how much fun or how much levity you can have living life in that way. So I'm really excited to find out where the author takes this story, because I just found the premise of it to be so interesting. Plus, I also love when romance authors do something new. I feel like sometimes it can feel like we're reshuffling and reading the same type of stories over and over and over again. So when an author finds a way to do something that is really different, I always want to go into their world and see what kind of journey they can take me on. And the last book is a thick one. It's called The Dagger and the Flame. It is my book of the month for October. And from what I remember about the synopsis, it is 2 rival gang members who are pitted against each other. And I think her mother or one of her parents was killed as a child by the rival gang. So she's on a quest for revenge, and she meets him. And I don't know much else, honestly. It was just, I'm like, oh, you know what? This seems fun. It seems like there's a little fantasy, there's a little sprinkle of magic and things in there. It seemed very appropriate for the season. That's it. That's what I'm reading. I'm also watching a lot of things. I also have a watch list. I'm very enthusiastic about making lists, especially during this time of the year. I love seasons. I love leaning into seasons. So for Valentine's Day, I will make a list of movies that I want to watch from the beginning of February leading up to Valentine's Day, although I do not need a reason to watch a romantic movie. That is a year-long experience for me. But I do the same thing for things like this. For Halloween, I will make a list of movies that I want to watch. I love a good scary movie. I used to love them more when I was younger, but these days, I don't really have the stomach for them anymore is what I'm finding. But yes, I am also watching a lot of really scary things. I just rewatched Midnight Mass. I don't know if you've seen that show on Netflix, but really, really good. I always recommend that to anyone who hasn't seen it. But yeah, let me not start talking about what I am watching, because we could be here for a really long time, and that is not the purpose of this video. I just wanted to share my reading lists and to check in and show you my progress. Let me know in the comment section if you're reading any of these books. What are you reading? Yeah, happy reading.